Well, hello there. So, you want to buy your kids a Nintendo Switch game for Christmas, but you have no idea what to get them. Our video game experts at Creative Cat Productions have you covered. We've put together a list of 2019's most relevant and best Nintendo Switch games that are also suitable for kids. By kids, we mean people roughly between the ages of 6 and 12. Though all of our choices would be fun for teenagers and adults as well. Some of these are multiplayer, some are single player, but all of these games can be purchased as a physical copy, gift wrapped and then stuffed under a Christmas tree. No digital downloads are included here because, well, you can't very well gift your kids a download, now can you? We have decided to focus on 6 games for this list, all of which are relatively new releases. However, we have decided to omit Pokemon Sword and Shield. The reason for this is twofold. First, it has been our observation that Pokemon gamers are actually not typically among our targeted 6 to 12-year-old demographic. Second, the current Pokemon game is very controversial, and many feel that perhaps it is not a game that merits a full retail price of $60. Indeed, some have argued the game is essentially a $40 3DS game that's been ported to the Switch. And we don't want any of that around here. So you can decide for yourselves if you'd like to include that game on your own Christmas or Hanukkah shopping list. But we feel a bit too ambivalent about the game to include it here. Finally, we will not be covering Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or Super Smash Bros., even though those 4 games continue to be among the very best-selling games on the console, even years after their initial release. Those games are amazing, but our assumption is that you have probably already purchased those games for your family. However, if your kids are new to the Switch, or if you are planning on getting them a Switch for Christmas, then you might want to consider looking at these games first. All 4 are great, and you really can't go wrong with any of them.
We love them!
But for everyone else looking for something new, here are our picks for the 2019 Christmas and holiday season. Number 6. New Super Lucky's Tale. Though released in November of this year, New Super Lucky's Tale is actually a remake of a game that came out for the Xbox One in 2017. It's a relatively basic 3D action platformer similar to the popular collectathon games that once dominated the N64 and the original PlayStation. If you think your kids might like games like Spyro the Dragon or Banjo-Kazooie, then this is definitely a game you might want to consider, especially considering the lower price point. New Super Lucky's Tale offers relatively simple gameplay based in a 3D environment which tasks the player with finding a series of hidden items required to make progress. It's as straightforward as it can get.
Pros.
The game flaunts itself as kid-friendly, with easy to pick up and play mechanics for all ages. The game has colorful, appealing environments. Older gamers nostalgic for classic 3D platformers will enjoy this too.
Cons.
Some complain that the game is a little too easy. Some people describe the game as having relatively long load times. Super Lucky's Tale certainly doesn't bring anything revolutionary to the game table, but it does recreate the fun gameplay of older 3D games very well. The graphics and environments are colorful and appealing, though a little bland. Also, the Switch version of the game comes with extra content and levels that make it feel like a complete package, and at $40 retail, it's actually a pretty good deal. Number 5. Super Mario Maker 2. Mario Maker 2 is perhaps Nintendo's biggest release this last summer, providing gamers a polished sequel to what was perhaps the most noteworthy game released on last generation's Wii U. Mario Maker 2 allows players to create their own playable levels of Super Mario Bros.,
across a wide variety of different Mario game styles, including Classic Mario, Mario 3, Super Mario World, and the Wii 2D style Mario games. The Create a Level feature is quite robust and offers limitless creative opportunities for your family's burgeoning game developers. And there is also an infamous online component that allows you to share your best creations over the World Wide Web for other people to play and scrutinize. I say infamous because many of the levels people upload are notoriously broken and unplayable, sometimes hilariously so. But never fear, the Maker aspect of Mario Maker is indeed thoroughly engaging, especially for kids on the older side of our spectrum. And just in case that's not enough, Mario Maker comes with a full-fledged 2D Mario game in the form of a lengthy story mode campaign that has you beating levels craftily designed by Nintendo to teach players to become better game designers.
Pros.
The creative aspects of Mario Maker 2 mean this game can be played over and over and over without getting boring. There's 2-player co-op. The story mode makes this game more than just a fun level editor. It's a fun classic Mario game as well. And also, if you're looking for another reason to buy Nintendo Online, this game offers Nintendo Online connectivity.
Cons.
You're required to pay for Nintendo's online service to get full functionality out of this game, such as the ability to share your creations online. And well, that's not a good thing. Designing levels in old-school 2D Mario won't be for everyone. Mario Maker 2 is great, but we understand this kind of creative gameplay isn't meant for everyone. The last I checked, this quality Nintendo title was retailing between $45 and $60, depending upon where you decide to shop. Number 4. Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. Ukulele and the Impossible Lair, released this last October, is the sequel to the original Ukulele by Playtonic Games. While the original was specifically based on the N64's Banjo-Kazooie, this sequel is rather an homage to the wonderful Donkey Kong Country games that were made for the Super Nintendo. And that's a good thing. Therefore, this game ditches the sluggish 3D collectathon game mechanics in favor of classic 2D side-scrolling action.
Pros.
Bright and colorful graphics. The emphasis on 2D gameplay and tight controls make most of this game accessible to most players. There is a lot to explore in the fun overhead overworld. David Wise, the music composer from the original Donkey Kong Country, did the music, and it's awesome, just like David Wise.
Cons.
There is a character called Trouser Snake in there, so enjoy explaining that joke to your kids. The final level, the eponymous Impossible Lair, really is literally nearly impossible, so buyer beware. Little kids aren't likely going to be able to finish this game, even though the rest of the game remains quite accessible. Despite the drop in dimensions, the Impossible Lair is actually a better game than the original Ukulele in almost every way, especially the improved controls and tighter focused gameplay. While the original often felt like a drag, forcing you to repetitively meander around large, empty 3D levels, the 2D style of gameplay here keeps things going at a brisk pace. But watch out for that Impossible Lair. It'll give you nightmares. Ukulele the Impossible Lair has been given a wide physical release and can be found in stores for roughly $35. Number 3. Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Spyro Reignited is yet another game on our list that pays homage to classic 3D platforming games of the past. This time you actually get 3 remastered and drastically improved games in one. The original 1998's PlayStation classic, Spyro the Dragon, and its 2 celebrated sequels, Spyro 2 and Spyro Year of the Dragon. Spyro the Dragon was created for the original PlayStation in order to address the lack of kid-friendly games on that console at the time, but the game was so well received and so commercially successful that for many, Spyro himself has essentially become the quintessential PlayStation mascot. All three of these games have been radically improved in terms of their graphics and camera controls, but none of the family-friendly charm of the original classic games has been lost in translation.
Pros.
You get 3, count 'em, 3 full-size, critically acclaimed games for one low price. These games are made specifically to appeal to children. All 3 games have absolutely beautiful 3D environments that are a blast to explore and fly around. You can now easily control the camera, making this version far more playable than the originals.
Cons.
These are older games that many people have already played. Sometimes the frame rate drops in certain areas of the game, and that can be annoying. The physical copy of this game doesn't actually contain all of the game data required to play all 3 games. You are still going to have Wi-Fi internet access, and you will need to download roughly 7 gigabytes worth of data in order to play the other 2 games. This doesn't cost anything extra. You've already bought all 3 games, but it is a nuisance that all 3 games aren't included on the one cartridge. These 3 games were, at the time of their release, among the very best kid-friendly games on the Sony PlayStation. They were even among the best platformers in general, with their large open 3D environments and Spyro's revolutionary flying mechanic. And while these games are no longer innovative by any stretch of the imagination, they are still incredibly fun to play, and they look absolutely gorgeous with their updated graphics. At roughly $35 to $40 retail, Spyro the Dragon Reignited Trilogy is one of the very best games to get this Christmas season. Number 2, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. The newest Zelda game on the Switch is a drastically updated and remixed version of what was perhaps the greatest game ever released on the original Game Boy. Though based around the classic Zelda game mechanics very similar to the Super Nintendo's Link to the Past, Link's Awakening is, and was, a relatively radical departure from the mainline Zelda series. Shipwrecked on a magic island, Link finds himself facing a completely different kind of adventure, with a completely different cast of characters and enemies. Also, sometimes gameplay will switch away from the traditional overhead view to become a 2D side-scrolling platformer, and now, Link can jump?
Pros.
Wonderful update to one of the best Zelda games ever made. A fun world of exploration without being too frustrating for younger players. It's a Zelda game, so gameplay is tight, varied, and rewarding. There's also a dungeon editor function included with the game.
Cons.
But the dungeon editor isn't really very good. There's a weird blur effect around the periphery of the screen that some people really don't like. Sometimes the frame rate drops as you move from one area to another. Link's Awakening is likely to wind up being one of the best-selling and most critically acclaimed games for the Switch in 2019. The original Game Boy Classic is already one of the most beloved games and one of the most beloved franchises, and this version not only does that game justice, but manages to make enough improvements to gameplay and presentation to warrant playing through this game all over again, even if you've beaten it many times before. Link's Awakening can be had for roughly $50 retail at most stores that sell games, though some places are still giving it the $60 price tag. Number 1, Luigi's Mansion 3. The surprise smash hit on the Switch for 2019 has undoubtedly been Luigi's Mansion 3, a sequel to a series that began with the GameCube in the early 2000s. If you're not familiar with the series, Luigi's Mansion is essentially a 3D ghost-busting game, mixed with elements of early survival horror games like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, and it stars Luigi as the titular hero, instead of Mario. In this latest entry in the series, Luigi and his friends have gone on vacation to a resort hotel in the countryside that quickly turns into a spooky nightmare. Luigi is the only one to escape capture, and now he has to save everyone from mischievous ghosts, his brother Mario included. Luigi is equipped with a special flashlight that can stun ghosts and find hidden objects. More importantly, Luigi has a special vacuum cleaner that can suck up ghosts, which is also necessary for uncovering hidden items, solving puzzles, and manipulating the environment. Coming to Luigi's aid is a spooky doppelganger of himself called Gooigi, who can pass through bars or grating, and has a special plunger tool as well. The addition of Gooigi means that this game can actually be played in 2-player co-op, which is always a plus when it comes to games for kids.
Pros.
A beautiful large hotel to explore, full of a wide variety of fun environments. Multiplayer options including 2-player simultaneous co-op in the form of Gooigi. Perhaps this is the best looking game ever made exclusively for the Switch. Seriously, it's like playing a Pixar movie. The boss battles are excellent. The game manages to be spooky and thrilling without actually being scary for children.
Cons.
Some puzzles are on the easy side. Vacuuming ghosts can get a little repetitive. The early versions of this game are known to crash from time to time, forcing the player to restart their Switch. Definitely download the update before playing. While battling ghosts is a lot of fun, at least at first, the real draw to Luigi's Mansion 3 is the charming movie-like story and absolutely stunning graphics. The haunted hotel in Luigi's Mansion 3 offers a wide variety of environments to explore, with a wide variety of unique quirks and secrets. The game is constantly offering the player something new to find or do around every corner. So yeah, this is yet another quality title from Nintendo, and it is quickly becoming one of the most beloved games available for the Switch. We highly recommend it. Luigi's Mansion 3 can be found for around $60 wherever video games are sold.
And those are our Christmas 2019 recommendations for kids who like Switch games. Are there any game recommendations for kids that you think we should have included? Please share them with us in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.